Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about NBA betting. My name is Andreas Oikonomou. So the betting industry and the NBA betting industry is an emerging industry nowadays. It's getting legalized across many states in the US. It is also a tough industry to make predictions on due to the nature of these systems. They're rather complex and the form of chaotic nature. So them being difficult to predict makes a forecasting model equally as powerful to predict the outcomes of these games. So that's what I try to do. I conducted research and developed a model that tries to predict the outcomes of NBA games. My entire hypothesis can be described in these following three questions. Can data science replicate the mechanics of an NBA game? Can this model make reliable predictions? And then, are these predictions able to generate excess returns or sizable income that also justify for the time and effort put into that process? How I approach the problem, pretty simple. I collected data through web scraping and an NBA API. Then I cleaned the data in order to input it into my model. And lastly, I backtested it in order to concretely test for my results. So I use a lot of features, a lot of offensive, defensive, basic, or advanced stats. I use probability trends such as win streaks. And then I use other features as back-to-backs, injuries, etc. Win-loss betting is perfect for a classification model. So that's what I used. I used logistical regression specifically because I wanted to be in control of the coefficients, which are the drivers of my results. And I also wanted to see the probabilities for each game and compare them to the market odds. I tested on a lot of seasons and trained on a lot of seasons. And for each season that I wanted to predict on, I tested on the previous season and the first 200 games of that season, just because the game has changed a lot recently. So my results can be described easily by confusion matrix. If you're not familiar with it, the blue diagonal is the correct predictions and the white one is the incorrect ones. This translates to an accuracy score of 71%, which is the metric I focused on just because my false positives and false negatives were weighted equally. That's just in my case. So let's play. What's a better way to test this model of making or losing money than backtesting it? So I tested it on the 2018-2019 season. After 2 games have already been played, as I said. I set my initial capital to 2,000. Why? Because across all seasons that I tested on, my max loss was around minus 1,100. So I think 2,000 gave a good margin of safety. I bet on a win-loss of the home team. And then, as I said, I performed the test on an out-of-sample set, which means I didn't train on that set. So this is how the model would perform. As I said, initial investment or capital, what do you want to call it, 2,000. And then on the y-axis we have the total capital. And then on the x-axis we have time, the regular season from November 14th until April. These are weekly profit and loss markers. And at the end of the regular season, you would end up with around $11,000. Which translates into a profit of 450% over 6 months. And put into relative measures, investing in this model would have performed better than the S&P, Bitcoin, and US Treasuries. So if you're saying to yourself, this guy's just betting on over 50%, which is what I did, but just based on my model, here's what would happen if you bet on the favorites that the market gives you. So the white line represents your capital, the evolution of your capital, if you just bet on the market's favorites. And again, the blue line is the model that I showed you before. So if you're wondering what makes my model perform better, I guess some difference makers is one, that my model learns faster than the market makers, meaning if the market thought a team would be bad, like really bad, like the Sacramento Kings last year, and they're actually doing well, they keep on thinking they're going to be bad and bad. So this is why Sacramento upset Utah at a date in December, and my model had Sacramento at 58%, whereas the market had the Utah Jazz, Sacramento at 15%. Also, my model gives less weight to home court advantage, and lastly, my model gives less weight to the impact of injuries. So in a game where Joel Embiid obviously didn't play, because that's what he does, Philly was considered the underdog. By my model, had Philly as a slight favorite, so I bet on that, and Philly ended up winning. So lastly, I'm going to ask the title to my slide, who's actually winning tonight? These are the odds that my model predicts in bold, and they're compared to the market odds, which you can see in brackets. As a Sixers fan, I don't love these results, but you must trust the model as much as you must trust the process. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to talk about this project or any other project,